Today, we are digging in, literally, to a fascinating story about conservation, community, and some really unusual birds right in the middle of Phoenix, Arizona. We're going to explore these subterranean sanctuaries and the incredible fight to protect the city's amazing burrowing owls.
So let me just start with a question for you. When you think of an owl, what do you picture? Probably something perched high up in a tree, right? Hooting away in the dark. But what if I told you there's an owl out there that just completely shatters that image? An owl that actually lives underground.
You guessed it. We are talking about the one and only burrowing owl. This is a bird that truly, and I mean truly, defies the norm. And its totally unique lifestyle is at the very heart of the story we're telling today. So what really makes these little guys so different? Well, for starters, they're diurnal, which is just a fancy way of saying they're active during the day. Super weird for an owl. And, of course, true to their name, they live in burrows underground. Now, they're not lazy, they can dig their own, but they're also really smart. They're opportunists. Why do the work if some prairie dog or ground squirrel has already built you a perfectly good starter home?
But here's the thing. Their very specific choice in real estate is causing a huge problem for them, especially in cities that are growing as fast as Phoenix. They are smack dab in the middle of a serious housing crisis, all because of suburban sprawl. And this really gets to the heart of the problem. You see, their historic habitat, where they've lived for ages, has always been these wide-open agricultural fields and grasslands, perfect for digging and hunting. But the new reality? Those fields are vanishing, and in their place, we're seeing dense suburban housing developments pop up everywhere. The owls are literally getting pushed out of their homes, putting their whole population at risk. With their homes just disappearing left and right, it was pretty clear that someone had to do something. And the solution they came up with? Well, it's absolutely brilliant, and you're not going to believe this. It all started with a happy accident. Now, this wasn't just one person's idea. It was a massive community effort. You had groups like Audubon, Arizona, the rescue organization Wild at Heart, and even the city of Phoenix itself, all teaming up. They started this project called the Downtown Owls Initiative way back in 2013 to create brand new, safe urban homes for these birds. But okay, how do you even know what an artificial owl burrow should look like? How do you build the perfect underground home? Well, like we said, the inspiration came from a place no one expected. It was, for sure, a happy accident. Get this. About 30 years ago in New Mexico, some conservationists were trying to move a colony of prairie dogs. They built these artificial underground tunnels, hoping the prairie dogs would just move in. The project was a total flop, for the prairie dogs anyway. They wanted nothing to do with it. But you know who did move in? The burrowing owls. They thought these man-made tunnels were fantastic, and just like that, a light bulb went off. And that's how they developed what's now called the prairie dog model. It's actually a pretty simple design, but it works perfectly. You've got a tunnel entrance at the surface, which leads down into some sturdy underground tubing, and that tubing opens up into a cozy, protected nesting chamber. It basically mimics everything they'd look for in a natural burrow, keeping them safe and sound. Okay, so you've built the perfect underground owl apartment. That's great, but how do you convince the owls to actually sign the lease and move in? Well, that's where the next and maybe most critical part of the plan comes in, what I like to call the 30-day housewarming party. Because here's the crucial goal. It's not enough to just give them a hole in the ground. You have to actively help the owls settle in, to make them feel like this new place is their place. You have to bind them to this new safe spot, especially during nesting season, so they recognize it as home. And the process they use is just so careful and thoughtful. On day one, the owls are placed in a big tent that's set up right over the entrance to their new burrow. For the next 30 days, volunteers make sure they have plenty of food and are totally protected. This really encourages them to start nesting and feel secure. Then, after that month is up, the tent comes down. The owls are totally free to leave if they want, but by then, they've already settled in and decided, you know what, this is home. So, did all this work actually pay off? Let me tell you, the results of this dedicated, careful process, they've been nothing short of amazing. It's a real story of a new home giving these owls a new hope, all because a community decided to step up. So what do I mean by amazing? How about this number? 100%. That is the success rate. Every single time they've used this 30-day method, the relocated owls have happily adopted their new burrows and decided to stay. That's just an unbelievable testament to how well this whole thing works.
And the success here is so much bigger than just saving one species. This project creates these incredible opportunities for people to visit and learn. It's such a powerful example of what a dedicated community can achieve. And, most importantly, it means there's a really promising, bright future ahead for the burrowing owls of Phoenix.
The story of the Phoenix burrowing owl is just a fantastic example of what can happen when human creativity and compassion work together with nature. It really leaves us with a big, important question to think about. As our own cities keep getting bigger, how can we all be a little more creative and find ways to make more room for our wild neighbors?